Imagine that it's Wednesday night and the seller just called you in the morning of the Wednesday and he want to meet you the next afternoon. You didn't walk the house. You have some public records from the house, but how to prepare to have that appointment with everything in hand to present to that seller.
Of course you have your comps as well because you can pull those. But then here it is Thursday, 6 o'clock. You've now seen this property. You ring the doorbell. You know that they're interviewing other agents. And you're walking in prepared because you have to have defensible numbers before you ever seen the place. And you don't know if this place smells like dead cat or if it's going to be a mansion inside. You don't know what these people are like. So we really want to have tighten numbers and options of what's going on where you can actually have presentation without actually seeing, because those who are prepared win the room, right? And the agent who is winging it doesn't necessarily wing it. Now, yes, the smelly cat can be a problem. But anyway, let's talk about the pain.
Basically, as we know, a seller doesn't really hire a real estate agent that has the most accurate spreadsheet. They hire an agent who clearly did their homework before stepping foot inside of their house. And part of the homework is really 60 to 90 minutes of the narrative, putting words around the numbers, anchoring a starting position that you can defend out loud, and writing in a way that says, I'm not going to invest things that I have not seen yet.
Now here's the promise. What we're going to do, because Al and I do this all the time with Cloud Code, we have our CMA narrative scale where we've built into our code. You know your market better than anybody. You know the comps because you've pulled the comps. You've heard the seller story a little bit on the phone, not too much, just to know. You had a few questions to ask, and we're going to really walk you through what we have done since we get that little bit of information without actually seeing the place. So again, and we're going to write this there, write up different options. So when you walk in, you're informed, you're at the kitchen table, you sound like you know what you've done, your homework, and you win this listing. So let's just talk about the wiring of this.
Exactly. Here we are, Alan Victoria Pinder, icon agent with eXp Realty and the founder of the Prosperity Agent. We are always believe that technology should give you your life back, not just make your life even busier. And now, without any further ado, we wanted to walk you through that how we do that CMA and how we do our presentation with that seller to get the listing.
Now, basically, remember the system. You want to own your system. You're not renting your career anymore. We're not talking about buying the zip codes. We're not talking about buying a paid seller lead. We are talking about making sure you come in and know your skills cold. And we're going to start understanding the CMA narrative, something even if you don't have sellers yet, you start doing it with your buyers, and eventually the sellers are going to come because you're prepared. So it actually starts with the public knowledge that you already know. How many beds? How many baths? How many square footage? What's the year built? When was the last permit? When was the last sale? Whatever little bit of information they told you on the phone. Maybe they told you their reasons they sell. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they told you a few finishes, some updates. But this is stated. You haven't actually seen the place. You have to treat that like it's a grain of salt because it can be. So we want to make sure we're doing the first thing, which is what?
Exactly. The first thing that we wanted to do is basically using comps that you trust. 3 to 6 comparable you already vetted, the ones that you can name, the ones that you send the client to drive by, the ones that is in wheelhouse, and Claude doesn't pick them. You did it. The judgment is really yours.
We are real estate agents after all. So second one, after that, we write finding out their motivation because it really is kind of important. I don't care the 30 seconds. Are they downsizing, relocating with a deadline, under financial pressure? Do they have no rush at all? They just want to get the most money. Now, the motivation for framing is what Claude recommends, and that is something when you talk to the framing, you have that little bit of outlook, but this is still not the data. And then after that, we're going to do what? Because you see my stuff all the time.
It takes one input agent usually is basically generate, as we said, 4-section narrative. Basically pros, com summary, and then pre-walkthrough price positioning, and then the neutral market context, and finally a starting price range with the 3 numbers and rationale for each of them.
Now you have these presentations in a folder. They're not really a presentation yet because again, you've not seen this house. And maybe in your review folder, you're going to open up when you get there, the one that's not the best because of the cat smell, or you're going to open up the best one because it is a mansion inside, or they're willing to do the work to make it a mansion. Now you have to be able to read all of these things and understand which one we're going to use when we actually get there. And we can never pretend we know what we don't know. The narrative is going to depend on our information that we're gathering as real estate agents. True quality, true finishes, layout quirks, all of this is going to get refined when you actually see the property, but you already have to have done your homework.
Exactly. Therefore, that's it. A skill that you're read at the comps, the seller's stated info, your motivation tag, and their fair housing overlay that my wife is always talking about. And basically, no magic. A skill, your homework, your expertise as a real estate agent, and honesty to label what we have not seen yet, as my wife was talking about.
Now, first of all, I want to point out that I treat Claude like a coworker, right? It is something that is going to help me, but it doesn't define me. So you have to think of it this way. So it's like a smart virtual assistant in many ways. You're giving it 60, we're giving it some prompts. It's going to get you some generations. It is taking, maybe it's going to give you 5 generations or 4 generations, but you're going to review them all and you're going to have them all on your iPad for when you arrive. So basically, yes, they can tell you many things, but we have to go at first from public record. The comps, the sold, the beds, bath, and the motivations, as we told you. Once you have those things, you're going to go into you're going into Claude, talking it to like a person. You're not giving it a spreadsheet. You're not saying pros. You're not giving some sort of magic prompts, because magic prompts are there, which don't actually work. You should treat Claude like in the Socratic method, how we learned in law school. How do we do things? This is what we need to learn. Basically, you want to have it to be able to say what we're going to do when we get into that house tomorrow.
Exactly.
And then what do we do?
Therefore, after that, we were talking about pre-walkthrough price positioning, and this is the section that actually protecting you. And this section is almost honest. You need to be almost honest about your limit. Every comparison uses only one objective data that we can know before walking the property. For example, you can get the square footage from the public record, the lot size from the record, the year of build, the seller's stated updated when they talk to you over the phone or before that. And some of them also is not verified. That's why you need the public report from that county that, for example, did they get the permit for any work that they did. And these all comes together.
Right, so we can actually help you pull permits, which is lovely. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is market context. Yes, it can tell you like whatever Zillow is telling you, the buyer's market, seller's market, but basically you know your market. So if it starts going into those filters, it's good to have a conversation with it and say, hey, no, we're not talking about a buyer's market, we're not talking about a seller's market, we're talking about a balanced market, or whatever it is in your market. But you have to make sure that you're staying away from steering, but you can actually still feed it this information, this market context. And then after that, you're going to talk about listing price ranges. And again, I told you have a low, medium, and high. Maybe some in between, because again, maybe you have some fears about this smelly cat. I don't know why I'm on a cat today, but it is what it is. So basically, you have to be able to have honest, qualifying questions. And then when you get there, you're going to walk the property and understand which one you're going to use, because, well, now you're seeing with your own eyes which one's going to work. Now, if they're rushing to relocate because they have to be there, you're going to have to use the faster one. And if it smells, we're going to have to talk about a lower price point, and you have to explain why you're thinking what you're thinking. And if it's a mansion, again, we can go to the maximum further amount, but if they have to be in a certain place at a certain time, we have to take that into consideration too. Then what are you doing that once I've run all this for you? After
that, we need to review. You read the pros, you change the sentence if you want it in to have your own wording, because again, your smart virtual assistant is helping you to get everything together, and you confirm the 3 numbers that make sense for the conversation that you are about to share with them, and you bring the brief on the tablet to the appointment to walk them through all the crazy detail stuff that you did with Claude and
Now,
presented to them.
basically, when you're there presenting now, you're the smartest person in the room because you have the right presentation present. We're going to talk about how we make that presentation in another video, but basically it's going to take you 60 minutes, maybe for 60 seconds, and many different things. So basically when they call you, you're getting ROI. It's going in there quickly. You have a skill, a database, so once you've actually built that skill, there's less conversation because you're just saying what it is and what it is. So you're pulling the comps, you're vetting them. The skill does not skip your judgment, it has to include your judgment. It does not value things around there like the land, the commercial properties nearby. That's a different tool that we're going to talk about. We're talking houses to houses. It's going to compare houses to houses. It doesn't pretend to know what's going on inside that house because none of us know, because none of us have seen what's going on. And it is not presenting to the seller. This is all you. All we're telling you is that you're going to pull your comps, run a skill, and therefore be able to say, okay, this is the number, what we're going to talk about.
Exactly.
And basically that is what we're going to talk about the CRM. Again, next time we're going to talk about how my skill builds presentations with it the second time. So that's what the next video is, and I'm very excited about that.
Exactly. Therefore, we are finished?
Yeah, CRM is done. So I can't wait to talk to you more in detail about how Claude Code and how, if you really want to know how my CMA narrative works, I would be happy to share with you, to be entirely honest.
Exactly.
If you haven't got my
Please
GitHub.
go to link description below and then click on the appointment with Alan Victoria Pinder, real estate agent with eXp Realty, and we'd love to help you with the success in real estate business, and looking forward to talking to you, and have a blessed day.